Those are, machines that I use every day. All right, week in and week out, month after month. Hi guys, I'm Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today's going to be a little different video. I'm going to take you to my gym, and this video is primarily for gym goers, and I'm just going to kind of videotape some of my favorite machines at the gym. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list of machines that I use or recommend, but I just want to give you guys a feel for what I think are pretty good machines, and I'm sure I forgot a few. It's a huge gym, and I didn't want to go through every single machine, but these are some of the big primary machines that I use on a regular basis in my workouts. And you'll notice that I'm only talking about machines today. I'm not talking about free weights. Without further ado, you're gonna see me at the gym talking for the rest of this video, all right? And I'm just gonna kind of go from machine to machine to machine. I'm actually going to point out two machines that I recommend you don't waste your time on, all right? It's not that they're bad, it's just kind of a waste of time. And I'm curious if you guys have the same ideas as I do about what machines you like and which ones you don't like. So let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious for all you gym goers, and for you guys that work out at home, this might kind of pique your interest a little bit, and maybe you might decide to join a gym. Heck, the one I go to costs $15 a month. I mean, it's dirt cheap. Now I realize there was initiation fees and everything, but still, it's pretty darn cheap. So hope you like just this montage of short videos where I'm going from machine to machine to machine. And then remember, post your questions below or your comments. I'm very curious. All right, guys, so this is the gym I go to. You can kind of see, I'm just going to try to give you a little panorama here of how big it is, how many machines there are to choose from. And I realize it can get a little overwhelming, especially when you're new to a gym. But I'm just going to kind of go around today and pick out some of my favorite exercises, some of my favorite machines. Nowadays, they do a really good job designing these things ergonomically and from a physics standpoint. The way the machines force your arms or legs or whatever to go through a range of motion, they know what they're doing now. So I would say all of them are well designed, but some of them are just fluff. I mean, yeah, it works, but your time is better spent on a different machine, basically. So let me go through. I'll point out, some of the better ones. I might show you a couple of machines. Don't waste your time. You're just working little baby muscles. It doesn't make sense. But this is going to be kind of a different video. So and it's loud. They're always playing this stupid music. So bear with me on the audio today. All right, guys. This is a fly machine, but it can also be used for shoulders, like rear delt flies, and that's how I'm going to use it today. So you adjust these arms like so, and then you put your chest against the pad instead of your back, and you put your hands on those two little handles, and you push them apart, and it focuses on the rear delts. Anyway, this is a great exercise. Most people use it for your pecs, because you're doing flies with it instead of rear delts. And but this is a classic fly machine. It's normally used for your chest, and it's a great way to basically focus just on your pecs. It's an isolation exercise. You're not doing any triceps or shoulders like you would with a pressing movement. All right, now guys, here are 3 bicep focused machines all together here. All right, you put your elbows on this one and grab those handles, and then of course you just select a weight and do your curls. It forces you to use very good form. This is basically the exact same exercise, but your elbows are a little higher, so the range of motion is just a little different, but it's also another isolation exercise for your biceps. And I love this one. This is a really well designed machine. This is a curl machine, isolation for your biceps. You can grab these handles down low here, either on the inside. They're the silver little handle there, or you can grab it further out, basically just to hit your biceps from different angles. But these are great machines that allow you to really feel that mind-muscle connection. You know, when you're doing dumbbells or barbells, a lot of times guys really start swaying and swinging the weight up and down. And these particular machines here are really good at forcing you to use better form and not cheat. All right, you can still cheat. All right, you still use bad form, all right, on these things, but still it makes it easier to really, you know, feel those biceps contracting through the full range of motion. All right, guys, just generally speaking, these are called cable crossover machines here. See, they'll also have these benches attached to them for doing rows, but I like everything, all the exercises, come on through, that we can do with these machines. I mean, I do triceps, I do shoulders, I do biceps using these things, I do chest. Come over here, I love doing low rows for my back. And then of course on this side, you know, they have the high pulley up here. We're doing lat pull downs, okay? So man, these are incredibly versatile pieces of equipment here, and they're very expensive, okay? Now, yes, we try to recreate some of this at home with the resistance bands. I got a bunch of videos, and I explain why I think you should actually have 2 complete sets of resistance bands. See how there's an anchor point over here and an anchor point over there? Well, I recreate that in my garage with 2 different anchor points, but you need 2 sets of bands, 1 set for each anchor point. And it allows you to really get way more out of your workouts. You can use 1 set of bands and a single anchor, but it's just better, and they're so inexpensive. You know, 20 bucks off of Amazon. That's my water bottle. I actually have pre-workout in there. I love that stuff. These cable crossover machines are very versatile. Tons of different exercises you can do on them. I'm not gonna, you know, show you. This is not really the purpose of today's video, but I'm just showing you some of my favorite machines. Look how many we have at this gym. So it starts down there and it comes all the way over here. Great stuff, guys. All right, guys, leg extension machine. Great isolation movement for your quads. I always do this machine, and I always incorporate that into my leg workouts. Matter of fact, a lot of times I'll break my leg workouts into quad focused one day, and then hamstring and glute focused a different day. The key, guys, is getting this pad adjusted. Here, let me show you. So that it's way back there. When you stick your ankles behind that pad, it really stretches your quads, all right, fully. And then, you know, you hear me talk about range of motion all the time, but there's some studies that come out that say you get the most muscle growth at the part of the range of motion where your muscles are stretched the most. And in this case, it would be right there, right at the beginning of this movement. So great machine, guys. Always incorporate these. Make sure you don't do too much weight, and you don't need to get your legs perfectly straight at the top of the movement. You know, that puts a lot of stress on your knees, but still a great machine. Okay, guess what? Another isolation machine for your legs, but this is a hamstring, and this is kind of a prone movement where you're laying on your stomach there and you hook your heels underneath the pad back there. And guys, this is the one that I typically go to the most often. It's a great way to focus on your hamstrings. You'll get a little bit of glute work in there too, but it's really good because it's hard to cheat on this machine. You know, you can really feel it. Now, this is another hamstring machine right next to it here, guys. But this is a seated hamstring isolation movement. And you sit there and then you put your calves over the top of that pad and you pull down. It's hitting your hamstrings and glutes from a slightly different angle. I actually like to do both of them. Instead of just focusing on one or the other, I might do
2 sets on one and 2 sets on the other. And remember, that doesn't include my warm-up sets, guys. So that would be 4 working sets of hamstrings, and I'll typically do 2 or 3 warm-up sets on each machine. But these are great. See, it says seated leg curl at the top there, and over here, what does it say? It just says leg curl, but it gives you the little picture diagram, the guy laying there, or oh, that's a girl laying there on the left-hand side. Anyway, love these two. All right, let's talk about back again. I do a lot of back exercises on those cable crossover machines, but these are dedicated machines just for your back here. So you sit there, put your thighs under those pads, and then you grab those handles, and as you pull down, the handles don't just come straight down, they come slightly outwards. All right, see how this is at an angle, the pivot point? That forces these things up here to not come straight down, they come out like this. Gives you a better range of motion when you're pulling down. All right, and I always do this machine on back day, and then right next to it, very similar machine. All right, basically does the same thing. Right, you sit there, put your thighs underneath, and then grab those handles, and let's look at this. See the pivot points right here? Okay, see how they're at an angle? That means as you pull down on these handles up here, they come slightly outward, which is naturally how your body works, right? You know, if you reach over your head with your hands and then pull down, you're not going to want to pull down straight in front of your chest. As you pull down, your hands are naturally want to come out to the side of your chest, and that's exactly what this machine does. It mimics that movement for you. And another machine that you can actually load these up with pretty heavy weight and not actually cheat. You know, it forces you to use, you know, good form. Okay, when it comes to chest exercises, man, this is one of my favorites. It's a chest press machine. Man, they have several of them here, and they all look very, very similar, but they just have slightly different angles to the chair relative to the arms, you know, the pressing movement, and it just targets slightly different areas of your chest. But these are great because unlike dumbbells or barbells where you're using free weights, you can put a lot of weight over there. You don't need a spotter, and you can force yourself to crank out, you know, rep after rep after rep until you really hit failure. And when you do hit failure, you just kind of lower the handles back down to where they are right now, and you don't hurt yourself. All right. You do that with dumbbells or barbell and you hit failure with a heavy weight, man, it's kind of a pain in the butt if you don't have a spotter there helping you out. So anyway, I always do one of these machines. He's on another one here. Just see, it's just a slightly different angle. All right, but they have, anyway, varieties of this basic movement here are really good for your chest. Okay guys, here we are, another leg exercise. This is called a leg press machine. You're going to notice they have a lot of squat racks here, guys. I used to do those on a regular basis, but my lower back just doesn't like it anymore. I blew out a disc about 10 years ago, and yes, I can do squats, but I got to use a really light weight. Sometimes it aggravates my back for no particular reason, where I can put, you know, 5 plates on both sides for a total of 10 plates and use really good form and really push it hard with this machine without a spotter. Okay, every gym is going to have one of these. They might look slightly different, but you'll notice we got 3 of them here. They're very, very popular. Usually these things are crowded. I just happen to be here at a slow time of the day, but man, I would say always you put this into your leg workouts. It's because it's a compound movement. You know, you're hitting your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes, and you can vary your foot position on this pad. So when you move your feet down towards the bottom, you'll feel more stress in your quads. You move your feet towards the top, and it will de-emphasize your quads and put a little bit more stress on your hamstrings and glutes. So great all around exercise for your legs. Okay guys, This is actually called a Smith machine. A lot of y'all know that already. It's a machine, I should say, where you basically have a built-in spotter. A lot of guys do squats over here. You can see somebody's put a bench there. They can do bench press. Because I don't like putting heavy weight on my shoulders anymore because of my lower back, I will do this, pull that bench out of the way, and I'll put it to the back here longitudinally, parallel with that bar, and I'll put my back foot on it and step forward, and I'll do Bulgarian split squats. And now I will put the bar on my shoulder for that, but it's very lightweight. I might only put 25 or 35 pounds on both sides while I'm doing Bulgarian split squats. And it's a great way. It helps you keep your balance. Bulgarian split squats, especially when you're doing it with weights, is kind of hard to balance from side to side. And this is a good machine that helps you basically with your balance. I'm holding onto the bar when I'm doing those split squats, and yeah, dude, if you've never tried them, guys, y'all need to add that to your leg workouts. Really, really good. And man, it's kind of weird talking and seeing yourself in the mirror there. Hi guys. All right, another good all-around compound movement for your legs. This is called a hack squat machine. I would say basically every gym has one of these. I don't do it every single time. If I had to pick just one compound movement, I would be doing the leg press machine. But this is also another great exercise and something I throw into my workouts. Probably every other leg workout I will add this in. And it's, yeah, there's weight on your shoulders there, but you can't do nearly as much weight on this machine just because of the mechanics and the physics. So it doesn't tend to hurt my lower back. You got that pad there that helps support your lower back. It's a tough exercise, guys. I think it's so hard that you don't see many people use it. Yeah, I should probably use it more, actually. All right, FYI, some more chest exercises. Just a variation of other chest machines that we have here at the gym. Instead of, using a pin and a weight stack, to select the weight, you just add plates here. And the seat's adjustable, the handles are adjustable right here, in and out. I really like this machine. And right next to it is another very similar machine. So this one is an incline chest press, right? Where this is basically just a straightforward, like a flat bench type of a situation. And guys, the nice thing about machines are that you can load them up heavy, and when you hit failure, you won't hurt yourself. You just lower the weight back. Even if you have to kind of drop it, it only goes back to right there, to the starting point. It won't come crushing down on your chest or your throat or anything like that. That's another reason why machines are so popular. Matter of fact, I would say bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders, probably use machines more often than they use free weights when they're working out. Yes, they do free weights, I admit it, but I would say they probably spend 2/3, maybe 3/4 of their time on machines and not free weights. Alrighty, so let me show you a couple of machines that are not bad for you, but I would say, unless you got tons of time and you like long workouts, I would say avoid these next two machines I'm going to show you right here. It's called an abductor. All right, so you stick your feet down those little stirrups and then you try to spread your feet apart, and it targets your glutes. But guys, it's not a lot of bang for your buck. All right, very small muscle group. It's super easy. It doesn't get you out of breath. It's just kind of rinky dink. And then here is the twin sister to the abductor, and this is the adductor. Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. Adductor. And so, this is where you squeeze your legs together. Man, you're working really small muscles in your groin area. And man, it's just, you're not going to see any real benefit from this. And like I said, it doesn't hurt anything. I mean, if you got plenty of time and you're just don't mind spending another 10 minutes knocking out, 5 or 6 sets of this thing, knock yourself out. But yeah, this doesn't have, a lot of use. The muscles it targets are so small that, neither one of these I would say you should put into your normal workouts. I do them occasionally, but that's just because I like spending a lot of time in the gym. Okay guys, here's another version of a leg press machine. There's one version where you're kind of laying on your back and you're pushing a sled upward at a 45-degree angle, and you load the sled up with weights. But this one is just that you select a different weight in a stack here, and when you push against this pad here, the actual seat moves backwards. The weights, the platform doesn't move like a leg press machine does. This is kind of, the platform stays stationary, and then you're moving back and forth on those rails right there. This is another really good leg exercise for guys with bad backs. I do this one because it doesn't put any weight at all on your lower back. So if you've blown out a disc in your lower back like I have, this is a great exercise to do. And the other thing is, guys, if you're lifting a heavy weight and you're really pushing yourself hard and you just want to go to failure, which is very hard to do on leg exercises, when you do hit failure, that's the end point. See where the chair is right there? That's where you end up. So no harm, no foul. You don't like crush yourself with the weights. They don't come crashing down on you. So, weight machines are really good. There's just so many of them now. I mean, look at all these. This whole row right there are leg machines. Everything you see on that row is some type of a leg machine. So you got these compound movements here with the leg presses, and then we got some leg curl machines, different ones, prone and seated, and then some leg extension machines down there. Anyway, this is another one. If your gym has one of these, give it a try. And then also you can compare how you like this machine relative to the other type of leg press machines where you're laying down more on your back and you're pushing the sled up at a 45-degree angle. See which one just feels better to you. All right, guys, this is a great machine for your shoulders. Now, this is a seated overhead shoulder press. So, guys with bad shoulders where you can't push a weight up above your head, you're not going to be able to do this. My shoulders are still in pretty good shape, and this is another great exercise that allows you to basically mimic a military shoulder press, but you're not putting dumbbells over your head or barbells over your head. You're not having to balance stuff, and this forces you to push your arms through a range of motion that's designed specifically for a human's shoulder. This is pretty good. I like this exercise a lot. Some guys, even with bad shoulders, I would recommend you at least give it a try. Put it on the very lightest weight first, and then just kind of try it. You push these handles, go straight up over your head. Here, let's see here. Yeah, it kind of tells you here it's a hammer strength shoulder press, blah, 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 but it shows you the kind of basic form. But, you just select a weight on the two different stacks here, right? Like I said, pick something super light and go through the range of motion. And if it doesn't hurt you with a light weight, warm up real slow like I do, and then add a little weight and keep going. See how much weight you can do before, you say, screw it, this is my shoulders are just too shot. Or maybe your shoulders are like mine and, still in pretty good shape. This is a great compound movement, guys, because it hits, I think, all the heads of your shoulder. Remember, there's 3 different muscle groups in your shoulder. And then also it hits your triceps. So great all-around exercise for shoulders and tris.
All right, there you have it. That's my gym. Those are, machines that I use every day. All right, week in and week out, month after month. Now, that's not an exhaustive list, like I said earlier, but those are my regular go-to machines that I use for tons of different exercises in pretty much every muscle group in my body. So, hope you liked it. And no matter how great your gym is, no matter how many wonderful machines they have, It's going to be completely worthless if you don't stick with it and never give up on yourself.